from the new day. Give me that whole yeah. Give it to me. I need it.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the Gimme Yeah Wrestling Podcast. My name is Anne and today I'm joined by my brother to another mother. It's...
Dom.
That was short and sweet.
No,
Man, 2021, you've changed things up a lot and I like it.
We've got a guest, you know, I can't overshadow the guest, you know.
I know, but now we just nag about how good that is. And cool, let's talk about our guest because we have a very special guest joining us. It's Aiden. How are you doing, man?
Hi, I'm all right. How are you two?
Yeah, good, man. Good. Nice to see you. You know, we go way back, so it's good to have you on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Rock and roll. So we're going to do our full Royal Rumble predictions, talk about them, but just a couple of things about what we got on the channel. Check out our interviews that are coming out in the next few days. We've got some really cool interviews, so check them out. And our watch-alongs. We've done the watch-along with Dan Reed tonight. SmackDown should be fun. Dom!
Yeah. We've got, obviously, Dan Reed is part of Eve, Right Girls Wrestling, so if you're not checked out their channel, do that.
Absolutely.
We've obviously just unleashed an interview with Charlotte Flair, but we've got some other good stuff coming. To the channel really soon, which we're going to be a bit more secretive about. And we've also got Royal Rumble, of course. Royal Rumble, the actual watch-along that we're doing with the Wrestle Story, our friends from across the pond, on Sunday night. So tune in for that live on the Gimme Yeah Wrestling Podcast.
I can't think of a better reason to subscribe, Dom.
Yeah, well, you know, apart from Aiden's beautiful face, you know
That's
what I mean?
it.
I was thinking that.
He's chiseled, drawn, his Mancunian. You are, is it, mate? You are Manchester, aren't you, mate?
I am a Mancunian born and bred.
Yeah, of course. You know, yeah. We met in Preston in Lancashire, but you know, it's a mighty fine accent. I miss it actually. I miss being over there.
It's a small country, isn't it? And speaking of small countries, let's talk about a small announced pay-per-view called Royal Rumble on Sunday.
Small announced pay-per-view, one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, Anthony, but with only 5 matches announced. Only 5 matches for one of the big 4 of the year. This is going to be unique, as you've said before, Anthony. You've said that it's going to be one of the most unique Royal Rumbles in history due to the global pandemic that we're in.
Interesting. Yeah, I think talking about like the overall pay-per-view, like I don't see how they're going to warrant having a lot of people in the Rumble matches at the same time, and I feel like we're going to get similar spots to what Brock Lesnar had with other wrestlers, where they are eliminating people. We might get a few more gimmicky sort of stuff. I can imagine AJ Styles doing a pipe bomb type thing with almost throwing people out as they come in and stuff like that. I think it's interesting, and I'm really interested to see how it's going. And it's also interesting because I have no idea how the matches are going to play out.
Yeah, it's going to be surreal. I mean, you know, like I say, such a, you know, WWE gets a lot of stick through the year. We provide stick. You know, Aiden will have his comments as well. Other people will have their comments. But to adapt to a global pandemic and do a pay-per-view where the main match is like, you know, having up to 10, 15 people in the match at the same time. You know, it's going to be a challenging adaptation for them. But I applaud them for their attempts. You know, whatever they're going to do. They're going to have to have thought it through, you would think, maybe, possibly, perhaps.
Who knows? Let's see.
Aiden, what are you looking forward to most, mate, about the Royal Rumble? What are your, obviously we're going to do the predictions for the matches, but how do you think it's going to go down, man? Like, do you think there's going to be 15 people in the ring at the same time? Do you think that there's going to be some big changes to the sort of Royal Rumble format because of COVID?
I think probably. I think the thing is with the Rumble is, like you were saying, with multiple people in the ring at the same time, with COVID going on, I think I can see similar to what Ant said with the Brock Lesnar thing, but maybe with someone like Keith Lee or Baron Corbin trying to be, look, I'm Mr. Heel. I think it's going to be max maybe 10 people in the ring at a time. You don't want to get it overcrowded. And I think when Edge comes in, at whatever point he comes in, you want a similar reaction, I suppose, in terms of everybody thinking, right, when is Edge coming in? Because someone's going to get speared straight away, I'm assuming. So, I just think you're going to have to make sure the numbers aren't too many in the ring at one time.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you before we begin the predictions portion is, do you think it was a mistake, particularly Aiden, because me and Anthony have talked about this, to announce possibly the biggest name in the Rumble? Arguably, I know they haven't on backstage. They're going to do number 1, number 2, and number 30. So there's potential for a bigger name there. But Edge being announced before the Rumble, like, my argument to that is, well, they did it last year, and you can never recreate that with fans, having him just come in. But Anthony's argument was that they've got a bigger name, and that's why they've announced Edge first. So
well, actually, Dom, I think that announcing it on Raw on an unadvertised segment is absolutely a waste of time during a really crappy show. But yeah, Aiden, let us know.
I think it's swings and things. I think with Edge being more of a surprise again, people would criticize WWE for trying to be, it's him doing the surprise return again. But I think it would have been good that you don't announce him. Someone like Edge, I like the package that he did. Don't get me wrong, I never lost the title. I want to win it. I want to get it back. And I think he did a good showing last year. It's one of them where if you had him as a surprise, that's great. Because if you're saying the bigger name, the only bigger name I can currently think of that is rumoured to go in it is Big Brock Lesnar. So if he is going to go in it, then fair enough. Keep him as the surprise and announce Edge. But if he's not in it, then I think Edge would have been the one that people would have thought, right, brilliant. We'll have him come in maybe 20th, around where he did last year, and probably get to the last four and not go on to win it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see, won't we, Dom? What match are we predicting first, love?
Well, I would suggest we predict possibly the most exciting match on the card, the Women's Tag Team Championship, Asuka and Charlotte Flair, who we've done an interview with on the channel, versus Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax, which is obviously going to be absolutely riveting, lads. So your thoughts, will run with Aiden first, of course, a special guest. So your thoughts, Aiden, on this match? Who's going to win it?
I think the titles will stay with Asuka and Charlotte. I can't see them taking the titles off them too soon, especially with Charlotte being the odd face character that she is. I just don't understand Charlotte as a face. I don't like it. I want her to turn on Asuka again. I like not liking her, so it'd be easier for her to turn. But I think it's too soon for them to take the titles off them. I think eventually, if my pick for the Women's Rumble does win it, she will take the title off Asuka, and then Charlotte and Asuka will eventually feud in the future. I think we might see the end of Nia and Shayna hopefully soon as well. They were just kind of thrown together at first, weren't they? Then they tried to make a story out of it. Then they won the tag titles, and then it was like, well, you've not put a legitimate team against them either to win it off them. So I think, it'll be they'll retain, and I think it will then maybe in the Rumble, if it is after, we'll see the end of Nia and Shayna.
Interesting. So you think Charlotte and Asuka are winning? Dom, what about you, man?
I want you to go first on this one, dude.
No, you go. Oh, no, you go. Oh, no, you go.
Because you've been so negative about Raw, and quite vocally negative during my streams, bringing the mood down, and making everybody miserable, including us.
I believe the word is entertaining, Dom. I believe the word is entertaining.
When I have to entertain people for 3 to 3.5 hours, and you come on being miserable as F, it really, really brings me down. So what I want you to do is tell me your miserable prediction first, so that I can try and bring the mood up again. So go on.
Obviously, I don't know why you brought Raw up, because obviously the Women's Tag Team Champions are completely cross-brand across all of WWE. But it's not a problem. I mean, we could argue as much as you want, mate.
Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax have been on Raw regularly with other such wonderful tag teams as the Muscle Friends.
Muscle Friends, who's that?
The Muscle Friends. That's
is that what they're calling them?
Mandy Rose and I thought it was the Sexy Muscle Friends, and there was a poster going round for that. That was they were going to be called the Sexy Muscle Friends. Anyway, so Nia Jackson, Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and Charlotte. Anthony,
I think Nia and Shayna are taking it here. I think that if you keep it on Charlotte and Asuka, this is just killing Asuka, like absolutely killing her, because the matches are all about Charlotte. No one else in any of the matches are actually getting any sort of story engagement, etc. And I understand Charlotte's a sort of hot commodity, and but it's hurting the women's Raw title. And if they want to make that mean something for someone to take it, or a WrestleMania match, or whatever that is, they need to get the titles off and let Asuka do her own thing for a bit.
I agree with you completely. I think Nia and Baszler are taking this, and I'll tell you why. Because WWE is WWE, and I believe they think the Sexy Muscle Friends are one of the futures of the tag team division, and they're not going to have the Sexy Muscle Friends go over. going over Asuka and Charlotte. But I believe that WWE being WWE and having these storylines, these wonderful, riveting, emotionally challenging storylines that they do at the moment, they're going to have the sexy muscle friends, the underdogs of Mandy Rose, sort of doing that. Mandy Rose and I can't even remember.
Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke. Yeah, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke taking the tag team championship, and I believe that will be, going with Aiden's thoughts, I believe that will be the split of Nia and Shayna, because they can't believe they lose to these underdog tag teams, but they can't have the sexy muscle friends go over Asuka and Charlotte. So I think that we're going to have Charlotte turn on Asuka, and I think that will lead to hopefully a brilliant feud. But yeah, unfortunately, we're getting Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax coming out on top here, I think.
Yeah, 3 hours of Raw. Let's go. It's fried my brain. What's next, man?
All right, this is one of the more entertaining matches, possibly one of the better, a potential match of the year candidate early on. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens in a last man standing match. Obviously, they put on such an incredible showcase together. Most of their promos, most of their matches have been absolutely top dog. But of course, they've been on SmackDown, and you've been watching SmackDown. And in most cases, SmackDown's been great. So I guess starting with Aiden, because just to get your thoughts on this, who do you think is taking the championship, the Universal Championship, in the Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens last man standing match?
I see Roman retaining, and I also see potentially Jimmy Uso coming back. There is rumours that his knee's better again, or his ankle, and I think that he will be a pivotal part in him retaining it. I think Kevin's going to get this sort of burst of adrenaline, take out Jay. He's probably going to put Roman through a table again or something like that, and then Jimmy is going to help Roman and join this kind of the bloodline again, or whatever it was that they had a few years ago, and rule the roost of SmackDown. I think hopefully we'll see the Usos then kind of be we want the tag titles, we want to dominate the brand. So I hope if Roman retains, as good as they want to make him look as a monster heel, I think that if you have the help of the Usos again, it also makes Kevin look strong, because he's needed 3 men to beat him, and he wants this I will not die attitude. So it'd be good to see Roman retain on the basis that there's a bit of a screwy finish with Jimmy helping Roman.
Yeah. No, I can see that completely. Anthony, your thoughts, mate?
I think a little bit more than that, maybe even more than the Jimmy returning. I think we're also going to get Apollo confirming that he's part of this faction. But I don't really know how he fits in, but we've seen him several times with Roman Reigns recently. Roman Reigns building up the head of the table with him. So I see Apollo getting involved as well as maybe Jey Uso. But yeah, Jey Uso returning now makes complete sense, because you can then build up a tag match for Mania with the Usos and involve them in that story that's taking up a lot of time on SmackDown. Dom?
Yeah, I think you had to really answer something with your thoughts. I think that they need to keep Kevin Owens strong, because he's done a lot of fantastic work. He's been one of the performers of the week in, week out on SmackDown, as far as I'm concerned. And I think they really want to, really want to, make him into a credible, top tier face and a top of the card guy. I don't think he's taking it here, but I think there's going to be a lot of interference. I think you're right. I think both Apollo Crews to sort of solidify his place as a member of the table, as a person seated at the table. What do they call those guys? The tablees?
Tablees? I don't think they're called tablees. What are you do?
Seated ones?
Just people that's at a bloody table. There's no tablees or anything. Just having a roast dinner with Roman.
Called something. They've got, because you can't be the head of the table. Are they the table? Are they the table? So Roman Reigns is the head of the table, and Apollo Crews and the Usos and Paul Heyman are the table. That, I suppose that's a good fact.
Dom, I don't know what you're on about. Love.
Right, so Apollo Crews.
All right, you don't need to explain. I'm saying move on, because God, you're losing everyone.
Prediction. Right,
all right, yeah. Roman's winning. Yeah, we know.
Apollo Crews and the Usos and Paul Heyman are the table. All right, the table is the ones that sit at the table. They need to be making their presence felt. Okay, so but Paul Heyman, he might get in there and get socked by Kevin Owens right one time. Right, Apollo Crews might get in there, try and hit his wonderful powerbomb finisher, but Kevin Owens will back out of it, hit a stunner. Apollo Crews is out. The Usos with super kicks. Roman Reigns goes for a pin, but no, Kevin Owens kicks out. Fight everything, Kevin Owens and all that knackers, right? But then he kicks out of a spear or something from Roman, and then a second spear or even a third spear finally puts Kevin Owens down for the last man standing 10 count. I think we're going to get a really strong looking Kevin Owens off the back of this, and hopefully Kevin will go into a brilliant feud with somebody again at the top of the card after this. But they are setting up. Spoiler alert for a future pick. I think they are setting up a Goldberg Roman Reigns feud, whether we like it or not, for Mania. So, and I think that's where we're headed. So Roman Reigns is going to take this, guys.
Yeah, Roman Reigns, easy. I mean, I don't know where all that booking come up. You've been clearly having some weird dreams recently about the family table or something like that.
I mean, I was just thinking about, you got. It's like the Attitude Era. I had some brilliant faction names. We had the Brood. We had I think we had a faction called The Faction. We've had all kinds of different stuff.
And now we have the table.
Now we have the table. Aiden, since you're the what would you call Roman's faction? Is he the head of the table? Are they the table?
Well, I think because the way Paul Heyman kind of portrays it's so much to do with the family and the bloodline and stuff like that. Tribal chief as well. So is he the chief and they're the cronies? Are they the little dudes that help him out? So is it one of them where it's just that they're not actually that important? Jey Uso's not that important, that he literally just speaks about Roman in the height of him being the head. Is it like his kind of kingdom, I suppose? So the head of the table, and that's it. They don't need a faction name because no one's as important of him.
It's just the family. The family.
Yeah, the family.
A bloodline, yeah, fine, whatever. Anyway, we're not predicting what the bloody name is. Next match.
Right, yeah.
Tablese.
Everyone looks a bit ahead at the table. Right, Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. What? I'm saying the head of the table. Head at the table. It's the same thing. What are you got your mouth open for?
Next match.
What are you thinking about?
Bloody filth. Poor Aiden has to listen to your filth.
Calm down. Right. Aiden, I see you there. You chill out as well. Right. Drew McIntyre versus Goldberg. WWE Championship. Who's taking this, guys? This is obviously one of the biggest matches. Possibly the biggest match of the card. Yeah. So go on. Aiden first. I need to call you Drew there. The sexy Mancunian.
There's only one person that should win it, and that is Drew. Goldberg shouldn't be anywhere near WWE at this point. His return in 2016 was great. I loved his Brock thing, and then he should just go home with a load of money. He should have never had a match with Undertaker. That just almost killed him both. Don't get me wrong. If they are going to book Goldberg, I want Drew to absolutely kill him. Like literally, Claymore him straight away. Hit him with a jackhammer yourself. I don't care. As long as Goldberg doesn't win, I'll be happy. I don't want Goldberg versus Roman. I don't want Goldberg at WrestleMania ever again. I want Drew to beat him in 30 seconds, and there's your payday. Bill, go off home. I can't be seeing Goldberg as champion. And that's because I've got two people in mind for the Men's Rumble, and one of them would fit perfectly with Drew as champion.
Ooh, excellent.
I think I know who you're going for, but all right. Go on, Anthony. Go on.
Aiden, speaking like a true fan there. I think Goldberg's winning this. Aiden reacting like a true fan there. Here's the issue, guys. If he is facing Roman at Mania, which they want to do, he is either winning this or he is winning the Rumble. And I think there's more chance of him winning this, because I think they've got something else planned, but I'll go into that when I go into my predictions for the Rumble. Unfortunately, you cannot have Goldberg lose this match and then go into a match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, because he looks weaker. he looks so much weaker. So unfortunately, and here's the thing, and there could be some long-term booking here that works as well. Obviously, last year he buried The Fiend. This year he buries Goldberg. He buries Drew, excuse me. Everyone gets really angry about this. Next year he's back again. He goes to bury someone, and that person comes out on top. And actually, that is good long-term storytelling, where that third person gets a real rub. Whether that's Matt Riddle or someone like that, would be perfect for it, because we all want to see Matt Riddle and Goldberg. So I think that this is a series of bad booking decisions, one might say. But yes, I think we are getting Goldberg winning that title, and I hate the fact I'm saying that.
Well, I just want to remind you that Goldberg's burying of wonderful talent goes one beyond that, because he buried Kevin Owens as well.
Yeah.
So it would have to be the fourth person that was going to do that. And I like that long-term booking, Anthony. And I love your enthusiasm for Drew. Obviously, we've got an interview with Drew McIntyre on the channel. I'm a huge fan of Drew. And I think he is a great champion. Whether a lot of people disagree, I think he's the champion of the COVID era, which is an incredibly difficult thing to run with. And he's done the best he could possibly do. And I'm not sure there's anybody else that could have done it better. However, I put my Skype window on here so I can see Aiden's reaction instead of just the card. Goldberg's winning this, and I'd put a testicle on it.
Why are you putting your testicles on the table again? And the table is Paul Roman's faction are all like, Dom, take your testicles off the table.
You know how I only if I'm going to put a testicle on it, I only really believe it's going to happen. And I think Goldberg, they're going to Roman Reigns and Goldberg, and that's that. And Aiden, you've been watching the product. Vince McMahon still runs the product. Vince McMahon still believes Goldberg equals ratings on the long term, which is obviously not true. It's only a short term thing. But in the short term, and having Royal Rumble results come out Monday and news articles Monday, Goldberg's been doing a bunch of interviews as well. That it's just all pointing towards Goldberg, and he's got a second. He's contracted for a second match, I believe, this year already. So that takes care of Roman. Goldberg is the default guy. What did he call himself? I can't remember the relief backer. It was a football term he used, American football term he used in a recent interview. He's the guy WWE go to, and he knows he's the guy WWE go to when they need a bit of relief in the ratings, and there's been a lot of tension. In terms of ratings, etc. He knows he's that guy. He believes he's that guy, and he has all the confidence in the world going to the Rumble, and he has every right to, because he's going to win. Because whether we like it or not, as modern wrestling fans, Goldberg is a ratings draw in the short term, and for that quick orgasm of the Royal Rumble, big four splurge.
Well, God forbid we get a long match. Jesus.
The quick splurge, of the Royal Rumble, that they're going to be all over that. They're going to be all over that rating. They're going to be all over the YouTube hits. That's what they want, and Goldberg can give them that, and that is going to come at the expense of Drew McIntyre, unfortunately.
Have we convinced you, Aiden?
Well, I can see it happening. That's the sad thing.
I know, it's bad in
situation. I don't want it to happen, but I can see it happening.
Neither do we.
And that's the thing. And when he buried The Fiend, that really, really annoyed me. Like, I was like, oh, for God. It is like you're saying, it's little spikes in ratings that Vinnie Mac's probably sitting in his chair going, boom, here's a couple of million with Goldberg. And it's just like, it's just not worth it. Give it someone else. Like, he did an interview, didn't he, where he mentioned the future of the company is Drew and other people. And one of the names that surprised me massively that he mentioned was Ricochet. And I was like, I feel Ricochet's been underbooked. If you are going to have this fourth match, let Ricochet take the title off him then.
That'd be lovely. That'd be lovely. He also put over Finn Balor big time as well.
Yeah. I was super surprised with that list. And Ricochet's in there, and maybe I think that's probably because Ricochet's just re-signed, hasn't he? He's just to live by his gun. So maybe they have some big plans. There's a lot of talk about guys that are being. This is for later on, and I'll keep it brief. A lot of talk about guys like Aleister Black returning, and people that we've all thought were dead and buried and dead in the water coming back to the Rumble and having a good showing. So if Ricochet somehow ends up in the Rumble, even though he lost his chance because AJ Styles somehow became the guy that you had to beat to get in the Rumble.
Well, the ironic thing about what you're saying about Ricochet is last year's Rumble, he was part of the reason that Brock Lesnar got out. He was the one that assisted Drew McIntyre in getting Brock Lesnar out, which then led to the Saudi match. And then after that, he's been absolutely dead and buried. It's weird.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But like I say, going back to Goldberg here, it's nice to see him putting over stars. It's nice to see him doing that. I don't know, maybe he's doing that to carry favor with modern wrestling fans because we all know he's going to win this weekend and get a lot of people on his back.
It'd be nice if he put them over by working in the ring and putting them over in the ring. That's what they need to do, and that's what WWE are doing, unfortunately.
I think he's got this thing because I think there was discussion, wasn't there, about the Fiend match and how I think there was Goldberg argued that he should be the superhero that beats the villain, and that was why that match happened the way it did, because Goldberg believes himself to be this larger-than-life superhero character that should rarely, if ever, lose. And I think that's the same here. He's going to have the same argument. He believes he's still the guy, a legend. And I think that, as nice as he appears to be in interviews, I think there's a lot of ego there. And I believe that he would. I think he'd kick up a massive fuss if he lost to Drew. And Vince being Vince, and I just don't know whether he wants to take that risk because he's probably going to pull out Bill Goldberg for the next couple of years.
The important match is Roman at Mania. That's why he's winning here. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's move on. Yeah,
moving on then, guys. So Women's Royal Rumble match. I believe this could be the match of the night, personally, but I've got some good predictions for that one. But Aiden, you go first, mate. Who do you think's winning this one?
Alexa Bliss. I can't see why she wouldn't be picked after this latest character schizophrenia angle or whatever it is, where she keeps changing personality. I'd love it if she came in.
Yeah.
I mean, midway through it and completely shocks the card. Bianca had a great showing last year. I'm assuming that they're going to have someone like Bianca again, eliminate quite a lot of people. Then Alexa will come in and it'll all go black and she'll be this kind of possessed character and just absolutely have a monster kind of run. And yeah, I can't see why she'd be the perfect person for me to take the title off Asuka and then going forward kind of be the woman version of the Fiend where she has a longish run with the title. Because otherwise, what's the point of making her this kind of character that just beats Asuka like she did the other week and then going forward? What's the point of making her this strong character if you're not going to do anything really sufficient with it?
Yeah. All right. Is that Anthony? Are you about to start?
You know that I'm going to get on my rant box, don't you?
There's a reason I'm going to get you ready. So my beautiful partner Emma is here in the wrestling household, and I know that my beautiful partner Emma and Anthony have, before my prediction and taking into account Aiden's prediction, I'm going to bring in my beautiful partner Emma to talk about Alexa Bliss and what you think about Alexa.
What is this? Apparently we can't have one special guest now. We've got to have two.
Not two, I like it.
Just quickly. So this is my wonderful partner, everybody. Aiden's my partner. So Anthony, just before, tell me your prediction, and Emma, talk alongside Anthony. Well, not directly over Anthony.
I mean, I will because he does it to everyone else.
What do you guys think about Alexa Bliss? Because Aiden's just predicted Alexa Bliss is going to win the Rumble. And spoiler alert, that is also my prediction. For very much the same
no, that's not a spoiler. That's your prediction and you're done now. Let's go. Emma, I want to hear your opinion on Alexa Bliss.
I just thought it was cringeworthy.
Rubbish, isn't it?
Awful. It was an insult to the eyes.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, I thought it was crap. It's just stupid. It's just garbage. It's as garbage as the Fiend is, to be perfectly honest. It's a weird character that doesn't work. And actually, during the match, it just slowed down the match so much that it became unwatchable in terms of wrestling. It's absolute kiddie garbage.
I didn't find it flowed very well either.
Exactly. It completely destroyed the flow. You're exactly right, Emma. And that's coming out of someone... Emma doesn't watch a lot of wrestling, but she could see that it was actually stopping the flow. And did you know that Asuka's a champion, Emma?
Yeah, I did, yeah. That was even worse. Yeah,
did she look like a champion?
It's not.
No.
It's not great.
It's just silly garbage, and the sooner WWE get out of that, the better, in my opinion.
Right, okay, Guy. While I've still got you, thank you for being a part of the... No,
I'm going.
Right.
Oh, for God's sake, what is this, man?
You're wrong and you're wrong. Aiden, you're right. Listen to
Thank
me.
you.
Listen to me, right? For all you guys poo-poo the Fiend, and for all you guys, you're still here.
It was terrible.
Right, listen. No, you can be here, but I'm just going to tell you you're wrong. I love you, but you're wrong. Right, listen to me, right? The Fiend, right, WWE have a 50 plus. That's where the 50, it's 50 plus in it, the demographic, okay?
Yeah.
Right. WWE want to get the younger generation in, right? The kids and the teenagers, right? What better way to get male teenagers interested in a product than to have Alexa Bliss come out like a goth? Like, what are you doing?
I'm sorry, I'm back, but she looked like
An 11-year-old.
So excuse my language, sorry. She looked like a middle-aged, like Avril Lavigne wannabe.
Yeah.
But that's what the teenagers love, and that's what they're trying. They're trying to get more teenagers and more young people into the right. We've seen the Fiend and Alexa Bliss on the YouTube stats and everything every week, 1 million plus. 2 million plus. It's the most popular thing on Raw, and that's why Aiden's picked his prediction, because he knows, as a wrestling fan, unfortunately, look, I think it's cringeworthy, but I'm a 35-year-old dude. But let me tell you, if I was 18, I'd be having Alexa Bliss as the Fiend on my wall. There'd be loads of stains all over the poster. I'd be like, I'll let you in, Alexa. I'll let you right in. You know what I mean? So, she could get in via my mouth. She could get in via my ass, whatever she wanted, right? So that's what I mean. That's what I mean, right? The young people that the WWE are trying to get hold of now, right? Not the 50-year-olds that are like me and you. Aiden, you're a lot younger, I believe. But, we're, in our mid-30s, right? We're miserable and old, right? So, yeah, we think it's cringy. And I do think it's a little cringy. But I get it. I absolutely get why Alexa Bliss is trending and why people love her. Because she looks like the creepy goth girlfriend that everybody wants in high school and everybody wants into their sort of 20s and sometimes 30s, right? The Fiend has got over because it's Bray Wyatt and he's a bloody genius, right? And it's clever and it's fantasy, and it basically slaps us all in the face going, yes, wrestling isn't real, but check this out, you like it, so suck it. Basically, that's why people like the Fiend, because it's everything about wrestling that all the kind of marks have always gone, oh, it's not real, whatever. But the majority of people love the fantasy. They love the gimmick. That he sold the most merchandise. I'm a huge Fiend fan. Sorry about swearing, right? I love the Fiend, right? You know that. And I'll be objective, and I'll finish up now.
Objective? Are you kidding? Objective? Objective?
Listen, I'll be objective. I think it's cringy. I do think the Alexa Bliss schoolgirl thing is cringy. But 18-year-old me, like I said, would have been all over that. I'd have been all over that, right? And obviously, it's nothing compared to my beautiful partner, Emma. But Alexa Bliss, I get it. I get why the Americans, I get why the European, I get why everybody loves it. Because look at Alexa Bliss. Look at the creepy, weird sort of, gamer girl, alternative thing. It writes itself.
Gamer girl. At what point is Alexa Bliss suddenly gaming?
She's a podcaster and she is a gamer. She does
but not in character.
What?
We're not talking about Alexa Bliss as a person. We're talking about her as a character.
Well, yeah, as a character, it's the same thing.
But she's not a gamer in character.
It all blurs the lines of that culture. And
Dom, I think you're getting very confused by the age of which people enjoy this sort of stuff. 18-year-olds are not going to like the Alexa Bliss. I think you need to give them more credit than that, because they can understand good character work and development. A 10-year-old, absolutely, but not an older audience. And they need to. I've just let you go on your bloody soapbox about all this crap, and I'm going to talk now. So shut up.
Right, go on, carry on. Go on then, fine.
The Alexa Bliss character, I like the character, but the matches aren't working because she's created this superhero for herself there is no difference between watching an Alexa Bliss match and a Goldberg match or a Bray Wyatt match. And ultimately, while we get excited, and you're correct, the numbers on the YouTube are absolutely up, the payoff never comes off. It's the same with a Goldberg match. Name one payoff to a Wyatt match that's worked in the last year.
For us as fans, right? for us as fans, the payoff isn't there. But Vince McMahon is sure as hell seeing the payoff, right? In the ratings, which is what matters to Vince McMahon, right? There's probably loads of people backstage groaning.
And at the minute, after the last 2 weeks of Raw, the Alexa Bliss matches have only done one thing, and that's to seriously hurt Asuka as a legitimate champion. Yeah.
But how many times have we seen that in the past with multiple talent?
Absolutely, but it doesn't mean we have to agree with it.
Asuka's not the first. Yeah, I do. Asuka's not the first, and she won't be the last. Asuka will build herself back up again. Asuka has quality, right? Alexa Bliss may not long term, but that remains to be seen. But in terms of what is a push and what is viral and what is making WWE popular in, with people, with casual fans, it's got people talking. There's a lot of people like casual fans, like my beautiful partner Emma, who's coming in. She's got something to say about it. It's piquing her interest, even though she wants to slag it off.
But it's not megastar, Dom. It's not superstar. That's not how you create a superstar. Drew McIntyre's got the potential to go into that to the same level as sort of Roman Reigns, but Alexa Bliss's character doesn't.
We'll see how long it lasts, because there is an argument, of course, and I think we've all talked about this, and I'm going to come back to you, Aiden, to finish off and sort of summarise what we're saying and your thoughts. But in the post-COVID era, it won't work.
No.
But the post-COVID era, you can't have Alexa Bliss showing up with a rocking horse in the middle of a match, because you can't pre-tape that. That's not a thing you can do. You can pre-tape it now, but
you can do it in the backstage segments. But anyway, Aiden, what are your thoughts, my dude?
I think it's a bit of 50-50. I have seen the couple of the matches that I have seen. It is true. The way they put it together is, I like it, but I also, from a kind of watcher's point of view, it is a bit annoying where you can imagine that even the people watching it on the screens are thinking, why have they got a cut here and then do another bit? And she's got an outfit change. And I can imagine, like you said, post-COVID, it's just not going to happen. So I think WWE are trialing a lot of things during COVID because they're not too bothered that people are on screens. They'll wait, they'll watch whatever's put out there. I think when you actually look, when it comes to fans again in stadiums, that a lot of the things that they're gambling on need to be finished products before the fans come back in, because Alexa needs to be exactly like The Fiend, where she's not swapping during a match. She is either coming out as Alexa Bliss or coming out as Demented Bliss.
Yeah, sure,
and keep them two characters separate, like Bray Wyatt's doing.
That's
out of interest, do you think they're going to define that a little bit more during this Rumble by giving her the mask or a mask?
I don't think she needs a mask. I think that should be the Fiend's thing. Plus, she has a lovely face, so it'd ruin it.
Maybe a half mask.
I think people in an old ring gear fancied her. I think people what she wears now fancy her. I think, she is a great kind of person to be on the main person in the product at the moment, because, she's not that old, is she, as well? You look at the likes of, no offense to you two, but the people who are 35 upwards, women wrestler-wise, are starting to either be not as attractive to people who are younger or as kind of showy as other wrestlers.
I think they're all beautiful, but and I'm not worried about that. My main concern is about the wrestling style, and I don't think that the Fiend's Undertaker gimmick works in this day and age. But then I don't like watching Undertaker matches from '91. Go on.
I'm going to just bring it back. This is the match I think we're going to get the most surprises in. So before we finish our predictions, guys, I just want to run round.
It'd be nice if I could do my prediction at some point. I mean, it's not a problem, but you can carry on talking if you want. We've just talked about Alexa Bliss. I mean, that not my prediction, by the way.
All right, well, okay. All right, so Aiden's prediction is Alexa Bliss, to be clear. Mine is Alexa Bliss. Go on, Anthony.
I think Rhea Ripley's getting it. I think we're going to get Rhea versus Charlotte too, and I think that it makes a little bit more sense for Rhea to win it to get some momentum going forward and set up, because I think Charlotte's taking that title off Asuka before Mania. So that is my prediction, and that was nice and short. You see, sweet.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna excuse me. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh, bless me. That was my emphatic Alexa Bliss winning the Rumble sneeze. So predictions wise, in terms of surprises for the Rumble, we'll obviously do some at the end of the men's Rumble as well. I believe we're going to see Taya Valkyrie in the Rumble. Obviously, she finished her Impact contract at Hard to Kill. She's also married to John Morrison. So I believe Taya Valkyrie will be in the Rumble. I also believe we're going to see Tessa Blanchard, Anthony. I believe that's similar to you. Aiden, your thoughts on any surprises in the Women's Rumble? Any sort of, people you'd like to see?
I'd like to see Rhea. I'd like to see Rhea have a great showing. I'm a huge fan of Rhea. I think she's great. I can only imagine that NXT will have to put 5 or 6 women in there just to kind of fill spaces. I'm assuming Raquel Gonzalez is going to be in there. There's going to be a bit of her and Rhea maybe eliminating each other, and someone who's a bit of a smaller person is going to kind of go, yes, big people are gone, and then Nia should come out next. But I think, in terms of surprises, I wouldn't be surprised if Trish Stratus is back. Molly Holly seems to always be in them now since the start. There'll be a couple of legends. But going on that, I think Valkyrie will be in it. I think she's almost got to go to WWE now, especially with John Morrison there. I think she'd be great in the women's division. And why not throw in, someone who might be from NXT UK, like Kaylee Ray, or even what's her name, Jenny or whatever her name is. Throw her in. Just Ginny, throw a couple of UK. Ginny, throw in a couple of UK people.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll put any UK people in, and let me tell you why. Because they need to fly them across to somewhere else to isolate for 2 weeks, where they're locked up in a hotel room before flying them to the America. So I can't necessarily see that, because they do seem quite busy with NXT UK at the minute as well, and trying to sort of restart that up. In terms of surprises for the Rumble, I don't think we'll get any real surprises. I think Toni Storm will be in there, Rhea Ripley, Gonzalez, but I don't necessarily think they're surprises as such. Maybe Molly Holly, like you said, tends to do these events, and I don't think we'll get Tessa Blanchard here. And the reason for that is because COVID's still going strong, and part of Tessa's thing all along has been she's staying home to stay safe. So it'd contradict itself a little bit if she showed up in the Rumble at this point.
Yeah, good point. Like I say, that would be a massive surprise. But I do see what you're saying there. Absolutely. Do you guys want to move on to the men's or anything else?
I'd love to. Well, we don't talk about Alexa Bliss anymore. Oh, bugger. The Fiend's in this one, isn't he?
well, no, you see, there's an interesting one. I'm going to get Aiden to go first and then you. So you guys go first.
So I've got 2 people in mind, and the first one would be Daniel Bryan. I think that with where he is in his career, and because Roman's going to beat Kevin, and Kevin's hopefully then going to move on to something big as well, I think that if Daniel Bryan wins it, especially the year when he came back and he literally got eliminated quite quick, he came in 10th or whatever it was, and he lost and everyone was fuming. That was the year that we expected him to win it. I think that he'd be the perfect person to then go on to have a great match with Roman. I think he's just a great storyteller, great wrestler, and him and Roman would have a great match. The other person, which I was saying, that's why hopefully Drew does win, is Sheamus winning it. He's won it before. Yeah. I think he should win it. There's potential for him to win it again. Have the brothers feud in the kind of, we're brothers, we go way back feud. Drew's obviously the face. Sheamus will be the heel again because he'll turn on him the night after the Rumble. That can build nicely, and plus, it's not 2 Americans then as well. It's 2 European powerhouses having a nice scrap. Throwing pints of Guinness, hopefully, and Scotch whiskey at each other, and having a big brawl. And
their dynamic has been fantastic as well.
I think, moving forward, that them 2 could, not that probably a lot of people would want to see it, but Drew versus Sheamus could have a really good feud moving into the Rumble. Moving into Mania as well.
I think a lot of people want to see it, dude, because I think they've been really entertaining together. I think a lot of people love Sheamus. He wouldn't have had the pushes he's had over recent years, tag team titles, world championships, if people didn't. And obviously people love Drew. So I think whether there's a title involved in that or not, we're going to see a Sheamus-Drew feud. It's going to be one of the bigger feuds on any card. Anthony?
Yeah, I struggle because I really don't know who, and this is part of the reason I'm excited for Sunday to see what direction they're going ahead, because I don't even think WWE really know who's winning the Rumble yet. I don't think it's going to be someone to face Roman, and the reason for that is we've got multiple contenders ready for Roman, like Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens. That screams to me Elimination Chamber. And building all of these people up screams Elimination Chamber. You put Jey Uso in there. Hell, they might even put Goldberg in there when we can see him headbutt a Perspex glass, which I think would be quite entertaining. Probably knock himself out. And but yeah, so I think I can't see it being a winner for Roman, which leads me to Drew, and or maybe Goldberg. And but I think I don't know because I don't know who's gonna. But if it's Drew. I think I'm really back and forth between two people. John Cena and Edge. John Cena is a surprise return and a big match for Rumble. You put him in a match against Drew McIntyre at Mania, that's massive. You putting him in a match with Goldberg, that's a big match. Not that anyone I think would want to see that. But I think the person I'm going to go with is Edge. Because Edge versus Goldberg makes sense because of the spear. And or Edge versus Drew McIntyre makes sense as well as a big marquee sort of match. So I'm going to say hesitantly Edge, but I really have no idea.
Wow. We have exactly the same prediction for exactly the same reasons.
Really?
First of all, I just want to ask you, say direction for me.
Direction.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Just note how you said it.
Why? How did it sound it?
You said direction.
Yeah. I didn't say erection, Dom. I said direction.
You said direction.
Continue.
Yeah. I'm just saying you said it like I said it. So yes, Edge is taking this. I think we are going to get Edge and Orton as one of the finals. The final four, I believe, something like Big E, Big E, Orton, Edge, and so another big name, maybe a John Cena. You're right. I think there needs to be one big surprise, and obviously you got to take into account who's in America, who has who's been doing things. I know John Cena's been filming stuff, whatever, so he's still active and doing things. Obviously, we're not getting a Rock for another year, something like that. So John Cena would make a lot of sense. I think it will come down to Orton and Edge because why wouldn't it?
Makes sense.
And then, of course, I don't think the Fiend will be an active competitor in the Rumble.
You don't? Oh, okay. I do, but go on.
But I do believe, excuse me, he pops in with his hopefully new burnt attire.
We'll talk about that in a second, but go on.
Something differently. Yeah, don't interrupt me. This is my predictions with my direction. What I'm saying is that Orton and Edge will be the final two, and the Fiend will come in and enable Edge to eliminate Orton and pop out quickly, either before or after Edge does that. But he will not be an active competitor. He pops in, lands in the ring, doesn't do anything, just looks at Orton. Edge gets a distraction and gets the win, and we see either Edge and Goldberg, or Edge and Reigns, or even an Edge, Goldberg, and Reigns triple threat spearathon, which I would be more interested in seeing than Goldberg and Reigns, and it literally just popped into my head then. There's a lot of marketability between Edge, Goldberg, and Reigns in a triple threat spearathon at some point. So yeah, I'm saying Edge. And in terms of surprises, I think, we all go every year, we're like, oh, CM Punk. Well, never or not never. No, he's going to AEW if he goes anywhere. It's just not going to happen. Sorry, it's never going to happen in a WWE ring. So yeah, we're getting John Cena if we're getting a big surprise. I can't think of anybody else. The Boogeyman. Like I think the Boogeyman might make a spot, but he's not to the level of John Cena. There'll be like a Boogeyman and maybe a couple of other, the Hurricane or something silly. But in terms of a big name, you're looking at John Cena maybe, probably, and then you get John Cena, Orton, Edge, and Big E, and then you end up with Orton and Edge, and the Fiend enables Edge to win. And I'm hoping and praying now for a triple threat between Edge and Goldberg and Reigns, because I think that'd be more interesting. But for me, in summary, Daniel Bryan would be good too. Maybe Daniel Bryan instead of Big E. The final. That would be a pop vest, wouldn't it? To have Daniel Bryan in there as the underdog, really.
Sorry, who's popping?
Well, the Thunderdome the Thunderdome with their sort of piped in pops.
Kevin Dunpop.
The piped in yeses for Daniel Bryan. So yeah, Big E the final 5, and then Daniel Bryan in the final 4. But eventually Edge is taking it, I think. Yeah.
Aiden, you got a final 4, mate?
I'd probably say Edge, Orton, Daniel Bryan, and I was debating Big E until he won the IC title, because initially my thought was Big E v Roman would be class at Mania.
Yeah.
But now he's took the IC title, I think that's going to be his thing for a bit. And then moving forward, he might get pushed. The 4th person, I'd hope it'd be a surprise, like Cena, or otherwise, why would he do that WrestleMania kind of thing that he did? Otherwise, why not just throw in someone random for a laugh, like Drew Gulak or R-Truth, who's just going to get murdered by Randy Orton RKOing him, or the only other person I can think of maybe is Triple H.
Oh, okay, yeah, that Triple H makes sense.
Really, he's not really done anything, has he? Apart from that little tiff that he had with Orton, only because Drew tested positive. So if he wanted, why not throw Triple H in there, have 3 legends, and have kind of the modern day hero Daniel Bryan. Let Daniel Bryan take advantage of the fact that Edge and Orton will have a feud. The Fiend's probably going to get involved, like you said, eliminate Orton, and then have it down to have a nostalgic feel, maybe have Triple H and Daniel Bryan as the last 2. Daniel Bryan eliminates him, or nice. Edge and Daniel Bryan would be a great little scrap before Daniel Bryan hopefully eliminates Edge and wins. So it's one of them. I think it's got so much potential for, like you said, a couple of surprises, but they don't want to ruin it and put too many random ex-wrestlers in, because then it's gonna shadow out the current I suppose roster.
Yeah, I've got an idea for one guy that I would really like to see. Not a big concert, not a big Final 4 guy, but Jay White from from New Japan.
He's not going to be in it.
The Switchblade, I believe he's going to be in it.
Really? Wow, that's a big shout.
I don't think he's going to be a Final 4, maybe, but he'll be somewhere in the middle. Jay White was fantastic in New Japan. His last match was fantastic with Ibushi, and just made he did an incredible promo at the end of that heel promo, leaving New Japan pretty much, saying his talents could be used elsewhere. And I just think, seeing Jay White would be exceptional for me.
I still think that's all the work, but because New Japan do stuff like that. I think in terms of surprises, I don't think there'll be many. Triple H is a good shout because I want to use people that are already working backstage. And speaking of people that are working backstage that can just bring out, I think Devon might show up and do something, because we haven't seen that for a few years. So
Hurricane's there as well.
I don't think we'll get Hurricane because we've had him recently. So I'd say I'd if I was doing it, I'd just leave them 2, and obviously. Maybe John Cena as well, depending on his.
When did he come in before?
Devon, it's years and years ago. It was with the Dudleys, wasn't it?
The Hurricane, mate.
The Hurricane.
It was a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
About 2 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think that's long enough. I think we'll see a Hurricane in there.
Right.
First. So yeah.
I don't know if they want to as well, with him doing work with AEW recently as well.
Well, yeah, but they had Rowan back. They've had Rowan back, haven't they? Talking about
Brody
Lee. Yeah, they had.
Oh, right.
Been back talking about Brody Lee on podcasts
on the network. Yeah. Cool. So the Fiend, I think he's showing up in the Rumble. I think also Randy Orton's going to have his burn mask on, which I think is going to be a big talking point of the Rumble.
He didn't when he RKO'd Alexa Bliss on Monday.
Oh, didn't he?
No.
Oh, well, that's that prediction ruined already. I think the Fiend's showing up. Right. Are you a Fiend fan, Aiden?
Yes.
Cool.
But not after, well, I am, but I was just really, I don't think he should have got beat by Goldberg at the time. So
no.
Fiend for me is very 50-50 at the moment. Depending how they book him, depends on my feel towards him.
Right, rock and roll. It's hard because he's obviously a monster, but to be a monster, he has to destroy everyone, which actually ends up in sort of difficult storytelling when he's the champion, and they seem to keep giving him the championship, which just seems like a big mistake. But in terms of the thanks, Dom, I'm going to talk because I know that you're just going to rant off for ages.
No, I've got a point that takes into account one of your bookings a while ago.
Go on then. What?
Quick,
Come on.
I'll try and be as quick as I can.
Go
So you made a point that the best use of Bray Wyatt might be
Gonna make a cup of tea.
specifically in the Rumble, something like the three faces of Foley. And I think you're right. I think the Fiend should start being used more sparingly. I think the Fiend should maybe come out once every so often when Bray's got to beat a big foe or something like that. He's very rarely now. I think it should be a three faces of Foley thing. I think we should see Funhouse Bray Wyatt more because you can.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, you could even bring back Swamp Bray Wyatt, and I would still like just to be, especially as I think it's reaching its peak. I think post-COVID, we need to see the three faces of Wyatt because you can't have post-COVID Bray Wyatt just destroying everybody. And I think, you need to see some diversity in the character because people are cynical. They'll be like, this is just fantasy rubbish. So I think a three faces of Wyatt thing, which you've talked about, Anthony, and the potential value of that before. And that's what I think, personally, that would be my future booking for The Fiend.
Yeah, I see that in next Rumble, though, not this one, because I feel like The Fiend's going through this story at the minute, and the three faces of Wyatt would be too big a talking point. Actually, the talking point in this one is what changes he's made to his mask since being burnt alive, which no one was arrested for. Here's my question to you both, as Fiend fans. Were you bored of how The Fiend looks? Was he getting boring to you all, or...?
No.
Why the hell are they changing it?
Well, we don't know they are. Do we?
I don't think I think his look's unique to him. I just don't like how when Bray wrestles as Bray, he also has under his jumper the Fiend kind of gear. Like he has like his vesty thing, like the vest thing on. Separate him completely and have Bray in his jumper and a pair of chinos or whatever it is, and let him wrestle, and then have Fiend's thing as the Fiend. I think his look's great. I think the mask is great. I think he worked with the people who do Slipknot masks, so that's even better.
Tom Savini as well designed it.
Yeah, and the gloves and stuff like that. That's why Alexa's wearing the gloves as well, the way she does. So I think that his character looks great. It is intriguing how they are gonna, if they do change him up, because you can't just be burnt and all of a sudden be the same person.
I don't see why. I think the Fiend looks great as a character. Like visually, I think he's wonderful design. But do you know when Kane got his new mask after the sort of 98 one? Nothing will ever beat that sort of 98 mask to me, that original sort of Kane impressive look. And so I don't understand why after a year they've done this burn angle, which I assume has to lead to some sort of burnt mask or something, or burn outfit. But what I don't get is I mean, I think they've used the Fiend fairly sparingly, and I don't think that people are bored of his image yet to the point where they need a change. And yet there's massive rumours that that's what's going to happen this Rumble.
There was a tweet about, I think it was a sort of quick, what's it when a butterfly turns, it's like what do they call the cocoon?
A cocoon.
There was a tweet with a cocoon and just saying, Bray Wyatt saying thank you to Randy Orton. It was like an hour after the firefly match with the fire and the burning. So there is the suggestion of change there. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
I just don't understand why it's happening. It just seems.
I haven't given you enough time, Anthony. Assuming we're not going to get the end of the Fiend, which I know you would probably like. At the Rumble or any time soon.
I wouldn't like it. I like the build to Fiend's matches. There's just no payoff.
How would you, if you were in charge of the Fiend, if you were booking the Fiend? Because I've never given you the chance to do this.
No, because you always talk over me.
So no, but I'm going to give you that, and I'm going to give Aiden the chance as well, because obviously Aiden. But how would you? First, we'll go with Anthony, and then we'll go with it. How would you book the Fiend? What makes it? What would make it work for you? Obviously, it works in the ratings, but we're fans. So tell me, as a fan of wrestling, what would make the Fiend?
You say it works in ratings, but WWE's ratings are going down in general, so it's not working that well.
Right. Okay, but That's not my question. My question to you is, how would you book the Fiend as a wrestling fan?
How would I book the Fiend as a wrestling fan? I'd be using Bray Wyatt's Funhouse gimmick a hell of a lot more. I would, because that is a vulnerable gimmick, and that still works within this day and age. I'd be booking it a lot more like Finn Balor was booked with the Demon. If the Demon was used all the time, it would have been a joke. But the idea that you're fighting this person who's a little bit wacky, a little bit daddy, but at the same time, the fear is that if you push him too far, something really dark and evil can come out. I think is a wonderful gimmick. But the problem is they rely on the other side of it, which is the monster, which can't get beat. And then when it does get beat, everyone gets upset. And it doesn't work. The Fiend doesn't have to win a match to win either. And I don't think they do enough with that. The Fiend can win a feud by getting what he wants out of the character that he's fighting. He gets the change. If he was fighting Daniel Bryan, and he wanted Daniel Bryan to eat meat, this is a real crap example, the Fiend wins if Daniel Bryan eats meat as part of the match, and he can still get pinned. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree.
It should be about objective and his objective and going for that objective, not about winning a match, winning a belt. He's the hunter that's looking at changing people. And actually, if you use the Firefly Funhouse Bray a lot more, because he's been the special event, hasn't he? I mean, we've only seen 2 or 3 matches with him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more special now than the Fiend, which is bizarre because he's actually the normal character.
Yeah. It's interesting. I think the majority of the wrestling world, before we move on to Aiden, actually see it your way. And that was very succinct. And I applaud you, Anthony, for because I agree with that booking. I'm sorry I've not given you the chance to talk about it before. I apologise on behalf of myself as a Fiend, Mark, for not. I apologise on behalf of myself. That makes no sense. But anyway, I apologise for not giving you the chance to succinctly talk about booking the Fiend, because that was really good. Aiden, one of our former colleagues at UCLan, Alistair McGeorge, is now a Metro journalist and does all the wrestling stuff. I was talking to him over social media after the Charlotte Flair call that we did about the Fiend and Alexa Bliss gimmick to get his thoughts ahead of coming on chatting to you. Because obviously he's a wrestling critic and interviews Triple H and all these wonderful wrestling stars. He was saying the Alexa thing is really cool and interesting. The problem with Bray, as Anthony has said and numerous people have said, is they shouldn't give him a title, because if you give him a title, he has to lose it, and that seems to be the general consensus of fans like Anthony and numerous other fans, is that the Fiend only works if he doesn't have a belt. But obviously talk a little bit about that and your thoughts on that. But in general, I'll ask you the question again. How would you, as a wrestling fan, not only a Bray Wyatt fan, book the Fiend? And do you agree with that assessment that you shouldn't have a championship?
Yeah, firstly, yeah, I do agree. I think if you do put the title on him, you can't have him lose it. And for them, like we were saying before with Goldberg, it had to be someone, I suppose, special to take the title off him. I think the way that they did it was just completely wrong. And I think the way that they did it in the triple, when Roman did the triple threat and Roman won the title off him, that was wrong. It makes him look bizarre, weak. They had to make him lose the title to go to Raw, though, I suppose. So I think, like you were saying with the pushing his buttons kind of thing, I think that's great. I think that's how I would book it. Have him as Bray. When he first came on the scene with The Miz, he was a bit creepy, like looking, going to Miz's house and all that stuff. I didn't necessarily like that, but the psychological feel of the way Bray is booked is the best way to do it. Like you said, as stupid as it is, get Daniel Bryan to eat some meat or something daft. If you can psychologically psych out the other person, that's a win for Bray. He doesn't need to necessarily get the statistical win in the match.
Yeah.
I think going forward, him coming back, let him feud with Randy again. I like the idea of him feuding with people that, as his old character, he feuded with in the past. I think, sparingly use the Fiend. If he gets used too much, it's ruining him. He needs to be a character that's used sparingly. Like you said, I think definitely Bray Wyatt needs to be seen more. I think it'd also help Alexa. If Alexa goes in the separate path of 2 characters, Bray needs to be 2 characters as well. Let them work together as the separate characters. Moving forward, though, he doesn't need a title because of the way he is. And if he is the Fiend, he just needs to literally batter the person that he's against. I don't see why you should let someone have too much offense against him as the Fiend, but it's one of them. You know what WWE are like. They're either going to use him too much because they're worried about ratings, like you say, or they're going to kind of use him just for the sake of this Randy feud, because Randy's apparently, his voice is in his head and everything. So I think we will see him at the Rumble, and whether or not he's changed his gear, I don't think it really matters too much. I think that going forward, though, they need to continue their feud, keep Randy away from the title picture as well, because he doesn't need to feud with Edge again, Randy. So keep that feud going. I think they could have a match at Mania, hopefully not something too bizarre like he did with John Cena the other year, and just kind of, I do like the wacky matches every now and again, but then I think to myself, post-COVID, it isn't going to work.
Yeah, overexposure, isn't it? Yeah, interesting. So yeah, those are our Royal Rumble predictions, guys. Any matches? Because obviously we've only got 5 matches on the card. Obviously we've got SmackDown. Anthony will be there with Dan Reed from Eve Pro Wrestling this evening on the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling podcast. So tune in for that. But in terms of any matches you'd like to see that haven't been announced yet, I think there's talk of Sheamus and John Morrison, for example. Anything else you think could do with being added to the card? Anything you'd be interested in seeing?
Maybe Sasha and Carmella have been sort of going at it for long enough. Bianca and Bayley would be the other obvious choice, but I also sort of feel like their feud is better on TV at the minute and can build up to something bigger. So I'd probably leave that one off, but I'd say Sasha and Carmella I'd like to see at this point.
Okay, Aiden?
I think with what happened last week on SmackDown with Sami Zayn kind of putting himself in the Apollo and Big E feud, I think, triple threat between them would be really good. Annoyingly, it's probably going to go on the pre-show, which makes no logical sense because it'd be such a good match.
Put Goldberg and Drew on the pre-show.
Yeah, put that on it. Because
make it must watch.
But yeah, I think that, and like you said, the Bianca and Bayley thing to me is kind of really interesting at the moment. It's a bit cringe with the Est thing that's going on. It cringes me a bit coming out as the best and all that stuff, but I think her and Bayley is an okay feud. Why not just throw it on the pre-show? Have a couple of matches that are feuds but not taking up too much TV time, and just kind of, I don't think I want to see John Morrison versus Sheamus. I don't think we need it.
No, I don't.
Yeah, especially with Sheamus maybe having a really good showing in the Rumble as well later on, which I expect him to do. For sure. So yeah, those are our Royal Rumble predictions, guys. Anything else for either of you to add before I do a quick interview with Aiden?
No, I'm good, man.
Brilliant. So our special guest today is Aiden Beswick, a sports journalist, freelance sports journalist from Manchester. We go way back as graduates of University of Central Lancashire. But yeah, Aiden, tell me a little bit about your background, because you're not only interested in wrestling. You not only do wrestling journalism for publications like Soundsphere, for example, but you also do sports journalism, football. So tell me about your background and where you are now, and where people can follow you and find you.
Yeah, so my life literally revolves around eating, sleeping, breathing, football, wrestling, and my girlfriend as well. But I think it's just one of those things where
eating, sleeping, breathing, my girlfriend. Okay, brilliant. Well done. Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things where, as growing up, they call it sports entertainment. It's still wrestling as well to me, but it is entertainment and it is a sport. A lot of people,
damn it.
A lot of people do say that wrestling isn't a sport, which I totally disagree with. I think as a young, when I was young, when I was 4, I think I remember first watching wrestling. And it wasn't actually WWE, it was TNA. So I'd watched, the original TNA was great for me. I'd watch WWE, I'd watch football as well. And they're the 2 sports that have stuck with me, I suppose, since being that young, that I've always gone, I tell you what, I'd love to get involved in them 2 areas in whichever way it is. And that's what I've done. I've worked with a local non-league club near me. In the football-related things, I've wrote on about women's football, which I'm really interested in. With websites, and then obviously the wrestling side of things, it was always trying to find a platform for me to do that, and that's what Soundspheres give me. So I'm really, really happy that's there. I think growing up, I never really knew. Uni was never something that I really wanted to do at first. I came out of sixth form and I thought to myself, I don't really want to go to uni. I don't really have have a full career path that I want to take. I took that year out. I started working, and I thought to myself, no, actually, I need to do something. What should I do? And like I said, football and wrestling, sport in general, is something that I love. And I thought, well, if I can't be a footballer and I can't be a wrestler, what's the next best thing? The best thing is to be involved in it in whichever way I can. So journalism seemed to be the best route down for it. So I went to UCLan. I did 4 years at UCLan, and you get there and you might come out with the grade, and the best thing for you is to find that job that you really want. And with me graduating, as COVID became a big thing, was the biggest kind of disheartening thing for me, because I knew it'd take so long to find an opportunity. Excuse me. But yeah, I think journalism is the one career now that I look down and I think I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I love it. I love, even if it is talking to part-time footballers or talking to wrestlers or just general fan interaction. I think that wrestling and football are the two sports that, to me, are the best sports that you can do and get. So yeah, I love it. Like you said, we went to UCLan. There's great people there. They train you early, so you know what you need to do, and then you just got to go out there and find the right opportunity.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. You've done very well for yourself so far. Before Anthony comes up with a weird and wonderful question for you, a random one, where can people find you on social? You've got a couple, haven't you, that you ask people that's weird. Anyway, before I challenge Anthony to come up with a weird and wonderful question for you, where can people find you on social media? Have you got anything you want to promote? Anything you want to shout about?
Well, yeah. So the main one is my Twitter. It's @abeswicksport. I've been using that since I started kind of the journalism path. That's my main thing. Twitter is, I'm probably on that far too much in a day. Find out what's going on.
You answer really quickly, which is great.
And cool, I love Twitter. Great to talk to people and interact and put your work out there. There is links to my LinkedIn on there as well, which you'll see all like the past work that I've done and the current stuff that I'm getting up to. And yeah, I think there is. I do a bit of YouTube, but it's now mainly for Gimme and Soundsphere. So my own personal YouTube is just past uni work that I've done, assignments, and I thought to myself, put it out there, build a portfolio. But I think the main one is Twitter. Find me on there. Have a chit chat, talk about your theories, and just go with the flow. I'm happy to listen to people's views, even if they're not the same as mine, like Goldberg winning.
Rock and roll, man. What do you wear socks in bed?
No.
Okay, that's fair enough. What about when it's cold?
No, I get called hobbit feet a lot, so I've got big size 11 feet with hair on, so I don't need socks.
I'm 10.5 with hair on. Very similar. Rock and roll, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us, Aiden. We really appreciate you, and it's great to have your views. A friend of Gimme a Hull, yeah, absolutely. And everyone, congratulate Aiden in the comments below. Let him know that he's done a wonderful job. Thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next time. Until next time, Dom, give me a countdown, dude.
All right, guys, like a claymore. We're going to count. Shut up, Anthony. It's my gimmick. Right, claymore, we're going to count down from 5. And at the 1 count? Yeah, the 1 count. We're all going to shout Hull yeah and do jazz hands at the camera. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hull yeah! Where are your jazz hands? Anthony, jazz hands. Oh, shut up, you miserable bugger. Hull yeah!
This is the hardcore legend, Mick Foley. Well, hello and welcome to Give Me a Hull Yeah. I hope everyone there, right there in Yorkshire, is having a nice day. Bang, bang. Have a nice day. Yeah.